Hello, this is Irene with SaugaTalks, and I am here today with Matthew Lamons, who is a managing partner. And Matthew is my dear guest today. He's managing partner and AI solution architect at the intelligence company, intelligence factory instead, all right? So Matthew, welcome to SaugaTalks.
Thank you very much. It's awesome to be here.
Absolutely. So I am now just talking to my audience, however intimate it is for now, but I'm looking to grow it. And the audience and friend of the audience, subscribers, and those just who came about this video. So we need your likes. We need your shares. If you find topics, if you find any points of our dear guests putting out there, if you find it helpful or valuable, please react. You know how YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter treats any kind of posts, any kind of communication. So it's all about engagement. I know that guests are very engaging here, okay? I know that we're talking about great things. So please, if you're here already, okay, give us thumbs up or say something, and Matthew and I, we will engage, we'll answer any additional questions, because it's absolutely my pleasure today to talk to Matthew about a couple of big agenda items, okay? We will start with Industry 4.0. We will talk about macro trends. We'll talk about fourth industrial revolution even. And as a natural progression from that, we will talk about AI adoption, and how Matthew worked with his clients, making sure that AI is not just high-level agenda item. It is also a very practical and very systematic initiative. And Matthew will share his experience on program management, which I am sure a lot of practitioners out there will find very helpful. So Matthew, enough of me here, the stage of yours. Let's talk about industry. Let's talk about where we are, how we got here, and most importantly, what's ahead of us when pandemic is over.
I love it. This is a topic that I'm really excited about. And your intro to the video is perfect, because we're living in the fourth industrial revolution. So you're asking the audience to engage and have a personal relationship with the content that you put out, and the speakers that you have on the series is perfect. It's right in line with where the world is going. So you're working from home, I'm working from home because of the pandemic, but that doesn't mean that the knowledge economy and the way that we do work and the activities that we do are still progressing. But they couldn't have done this, what, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? And certainly 20 or 30 years ago, we wouldn't have imagined having interactions and video calls. And so it's a fascinating world. And it's one that people are adopting this technology and the activities and the behaviors and the expectations much quicker than companies are. But the companies are now really exploring, what does it mean to operate in a digital world? And they knew it was coming, but really in the last couple of months, they've really felt that they have to adjust their operations to meet the demands of what the world has put on us. And not only what's that mean for operations, but looking further, if they can just keep business going the way it is now, with the different distributed workforce, people working from home, still getting the production that they want, what does it mean for the other things that they would like to do, or the ways for them to engage with their consumers, produce the products and services that they want, that their core activities produce? And how do they do that in a new way so that they're more competitive, they make more money, they're more agile, and responsive to their customers? So I love it. It's a very exciting time. We didn't know 2020 was going to be like this, but it's certainly one for the books.
Good to have you here, Matthew. So let's start with what we might know already. Okay, Industrial Revolution number 1, 2, 3, and why 4 is so different. Can you kind of sum up for us?
I sure can. Now looking back, we see that the ways that we've organized work and our relationship to work, what it means for economies on the local scale as well as on the global scale, it's evolved over time. And but it took a long time to get rolling. And now once it's rolling, we can see the changes and what that means. So really, when we look back at how people interacted, how much money they made, how long they lived, the standard of living, and some core metrics, not much had changed certainly in recorded history, which is about well-recorded history, which is about 1000 AD to 1750. If you looked at living in that period of time, the more that people produced, there was an interesting phenomenon that you could have advances in production, and people were using machines, everything from windmills to water mills for grinding, spinning looms for a thread. But the increases in production only, if the effective increases in production were an increase in population. It wasn't an increase in per capita wealth. And so there was a drive to increase production, but it wasn't as strong as what's happened fundamentally in the late 1700s. So there's this period prior to the first industrial revolution where if you wanted to make things, most things were made by hand. And so it was an artisanal and a craftsman model of production. So you had shops, and you had people who lived above their shops, and they were, you could get really well-made items. They were custom made in many cases, but they didn't interact very well with they weren't interchangeable, so they weren't exchangeable with other parts. And if you didn't get the item made by a craftsman, you got a poorly made item. And what had changed was in the first industrial revolution, we started having mechanized production. And mechanized production is the hallmark of the period of time between about 1765 and 1865. It's interesting that these industrial revolutions are almost 100-year periods. And so between 1765 and 1865, we had mechanized production. It was basically a steam power industrial revolution, and machines started making other items. And so we took production out of the hands of custom made by people, and we started having machines making things. And now we can it took a lot of people, but we can make a lot of things faster. And this mechanized production broke what's called the Malthusian trap. And that Malthusian trap is the trap of increased production only increases people, the number of people on the planet. It doesn't increase wealth. In the time between 1765 and 1865, we saw per capita income grow. We saw lifespan grow. So if you were born anytime before 1765, you normally lived, average lifespan in Europe was about 28 years of age. And by 1865, that expanded to about 38 years of age. And there's a big disparity between the industrialized countries and the pre-industrialized countries in terms of lifespan. The second industrial revolution built on the first one. They really didn't, if you think of industrial revolutions, you should think of them as evolutions, because we don't throw away what worked in the past. We just expand on it and get better at it. So the second industrial revolution is an energy revolution in many regards. And so electricity replaced steam power. And so you can make many more things that are exactly alike with much less people now. And you can make them faster. And so we had also scientific management, professional management of companies, interoperability of parts. And so now the parts from one factory could be exchanged in a system from parts that were made from a different factory because of standardization. And that second industrial revolution had a phenomenal impact on lifespan. Lifespan went from about 38 years, average of 38 years, to 78 years, 72 years of age between 1865 and 1965. Per capita income and wealth exploded. The number of people, literacy rates went up around the globe. Infant mortality went down. All the major indicators improved